Hi, we've been talking a little bit about A-teams, accountability teams, and there's been some questions, so this video is about A-teams. The purpose of an A-team is as we're going through the short-term discipleship, disciples are developing some good disciplines and skills, and we want to keep those sharp as we enter into long-term discipleship. We also want to go deeper. People start reading their Bible. Maybe they're reading a few verses or a chapter a day. They're praying for a couple of minutes a day. We want to go deeper in both their relationship with Jesus up in and out. This reinforces that as well, the DNA. Jesus up in and out. We want to make sure that we keep going in all three areas, that we don't just become a holy huddle, or we're not just about worship, or we're not just about evangelism, but we have a good, healthy, well-rounded DNA. And then the other thing about A-teams is they can be the seeds for new groups. We sow these A-teams out into our community, and we can see new A-teams, new groups, new churches spring up out of these A-teams. Now, how we do that, number one, they're gender specific. You're going to see the types of questions that we ask in these accountability teams. Really, it's conducive for men to meet with men and women with women. It's 2 to 4 people on a team. We've seen that 3 is a really good number. 5 is when it starts to break down. So somewhere between 2 and 4 people on a team. And then it can meet in off time, or we're going to show you some creative ways in order to meet in A-teams if you're extremely busy. And it's basically a list of accountability questions that helps us set goals and go deeper in our walk with Jesus. So the DNA questions, it's built on Jesus up and out. And I know there's several ways to express this, but this is what we use. Our relationship with Jesus, he points us up to the Father, love God, into one another, love one another, and out to the world, go make disciples. And so the accountability questions are built on that DNA. So the first is Jesus, and we're just going to ask, how are you doing? And then just a short prayer that we will all become more like Jesus. Then we're going to go up with our questions. Do you have any sin to confess? Relational, sexual, financial, pride, integrity, submission to authority, etc. Now, a lot of times people will want to skip this because it's uncomfortable, but what we have found is this is one of the most transformational questions that you can ask one another, because now you're walking in the light. And usually we say a quick prayer of confession and acknowledging God's forgiveness at the end of this. Then we ask, did you obey what God told you last time? So this is just like accountability goals in the 3/3 process. What is your daily prayer goal, and did you reach it? We're trying to aim at 15 minutes a day. That's for folks that have full-time jobs, and you know that's a good goal. For those of you who are in full-time ministry, I recommend setting a goal of an hour a day. But that's not where we start. We start in increments to help us gain strength and momentum in going deeper. So the first goal may be, I want to pray for 3 minutes a day, and that's great. And so we'll stretch that as we accomplish those goals. We'll reach further and further towards getting stronger and stronger. Continue. Did you memorize a new verse this week and quote it? And then what is your Bible reading goal, and did you reach it? And we're aiming for 3 to 4 chapters daily. If you do that, you're going to read the Bible in a year. And what we want to do is help people get saturated in the scriptures. That's why we aim for that. But obviously, if you're a brand new baby Christian, you're not used to reading the Bible, it may be a few verses or a chapter a day. That's where you start. but we want to stretch you to go deeper. How did God speak to you from the Bible? And that's just kind of a dialogue about what you're getting out of the Word, and then how do you plan to put that into action? Again, setting the action goals or accountability goals for next time. So that's up. Next, we go in. Have you experienced encouraging and challenging fellowship aimed for 3 to 4 times a week? We've found that disciples are very healthy when they get together with fellow disciples at least 3 to 4 times a week. Now, when you're first starting out, you may be busy, all kinds of things, so maybe it's once or twice. Again, we set realistic goals for where we're at, but we're going to stretch ourselves towards going deeper. Do you see anything hindering my walk with Christ? Now, the first few times you ask that question, either you don't know enough about each other or you're a little timid in asking such a personal question and getting feedback. But this question is very powerful as you get to know each other and you practice integrity in fellowship. This can be a huge help for transformation into Christ likeness. So that's in. And then we move to out. What is your fishing goal and did you reach it? Aim for 5 people a week. Again, 5 people a week may seem like a lot, so maybe you start with 1 a week. We're going to stretch you. Practice 1-minute testimonies and the gospel right now, and if you're in a public place, you may want to share with somebody nearby if that's possible. And then, what is your goal for starting another A-team, a group, or a church? And then, if you have started one, how is it going? So, all the questions that you're asking in that A-team session usually takes about an hour long. And then if you're just fellowshipping, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half. So now what does that look like when we start doing it? Well, here's our training church or a church that's meeting on Sunday night. This is plan A. If everything works out perfect, this is what it looks like. That training church has an outreach church. They have a baby church that they started on Wednesday night by finding a person apiece, and a couple of people were working in that. And so that's 2 nights a week that they're engaged. But then we want our A-team. So on another time, a Saturday morning for coffee, Wednesday, not Wednesday night, but Thursday night, they start A-teams, and so they start getting together at different times. Notice we have a men's A-team and a women's A-team, and they just started getting together at different times during the week. If you'll notice, they're having 3 times of fellowship a week in their training church, outreach church, and their A-team. All right, let's say that we don't have enough time to do that. So we go to plan B, a monthly A-team. We have our training church on Sunday night, our outreach on Wednesday night, and then on the first Sunday of the month, we all meet together in our training church, but instead of doing our regular lesson, we do A-teams and communion. We're actually practicing this here in San Antonio. On the first Sunday of the month, we do A-team, break up into A-teams, and then do communion afterwards. So that's plan B. Well, here's another plan for you. Plan C on the internet. You start an A-team on Facebook or email or Google Hangouts, and it's kind of like a seed. And as we plant that seed, it grows into another A-team and another A-team. It just kind of multiplies on the internet, or however. You can do this on the ground as well. But the neat thing is that you can use an A-team to start an outreach church, or you can use an A-team to start a training church with Christians. Ultimately, we hope that training church will turn into an outreach church as well. But you can see that this is very flexible, And you can use the A-teams to plant groups and churches and other A-teams. All right, so basically that's how we run our A-teams, our accountability teams. Obviously, you can experiment with this. It's meant to help disciples go deeper and keep those disciplines that we taught them in short-term discipleship really sharp. Hope this is helpful.